now let's talk about how to get out of this situation. So you find yourself, we spoke about, what are the effects? How can you identify that you're in an unhealthy relationship? We spoke about how to communicate that if you're a man versus a woman. Now, when it's time to actually walk away, what are the things you can do to walk away? So first, the tips that I read again from Psychology Today, or Bryce was one of them, was saying about, to talk about it first, right? Of course, you want to address what's going on, have an adult conversation with them, and maybe therapy is needed, like Shatoria mentioned. Maybe you guys want to go to, couples therapy or have therapy as part of it. If you can't communicate, if for some reason when you communicate it's like, okay, it's just not going to work, then you start making your plan, right? You want to have a support group, because depending on how involved you are with this person, you might need that support to kind of help you kind of, get away from that person or get out of that situation. So they do speak about, getting your support group. And if you're living with a person like Tori was, you might want to think about saving money. You might want to think about, getting yourself together so that when you guys do break up, that you're okay financially as well. Did you guys have any other kind of tips on how to get out of something unhealthy? What did you do to get out of those situations?
I think in one of my most unhealthy relationships, I had to create an exit plan. Mm-hmm. Like it was a literal plan. Like, what do I need to do to safely get out of this situation? So I'll give you an example. I think I had just started working after law school. So, the first job I was making like $40,000. I had a daughter. I live in South Florida. I'm like, how am I going to ensure that my daughter still has some stability, that she's still attending the same school, that she's in a nearby neighborhood? I still have access to my support system, being my family. I found an apartment, y'all. It was literally across the street. And when I'm looking for this apartment, I'm like, this address seems so familiar. I put it in Google Maps and it was like showing the picture, how it shows a picture?
Yeah.
And I was like, but that's where I'm at right now. Like, I see my apartment, girl. But that was like the only one that ticked off all the things that I needed. And I saved my money, had to put my money to the side and literally pack my things while we were cohabitating. Like I cleaned and I organized. So I guess he thought I was just cleaning or the whole time I'm packing my shit underneath like his nose. So I had to pack my stuff, had to coordinate someone to pick up my daughter, had to coordinate someone to help me like come get my things. And when I will never be in that situation again. It felt like this secret, Secret Service, CIA whole thing. And it was because I didn't feel like if I told him, it would be the conversation wouldn't end well. 2, he would sabotage me leaving. And I think those are the main two reasons. And I would never put myself in that situation again.
Ooh, I like the word you use, safely, because it's true. You got to think of a plan where you can leave safely. Another thing they mentioned about was documenting, if you're in an abusive or in a relationship that has those kind of issues, documenting that behavior. So I think safe is a very good word. And some people, not only will try to sabotage, and especially if you, have where that person kind of like mentally messes with you all the time.
Girl, I knew what he needed to do to keep me out.
Yeah. See, really? What was it? He just put one on you, right?
That got me.
Just put one on you, like, okay, damn, okay, I'll stay. So, people have all kind of tactics, to get you to stay. So I like how you said working smart and safely to get out of the situation. How about you guys? What did you do? Well, Thaddeus, you say you just kicked the girl to the curb. Tori, what did you do? You were living with her. What did you
do? I was like Shatoria. I was methodical. I'm typically an analytical person, so I do a lot of thinking anyway. So my thought process wasn't, okay, well, this is step A. My process was, okay, if I do this, then this could happen, and then this could happen. So what I did was I took inventory of what was going on around me and used what wasn't working. So like in our particular situation, our washer and dryer has stopped working. So I moved stuff out little by little by saying, oh, I'm going to the laundromat. And I put my clothes in trash bags. Little by little, I'm going to the laundromat.
Damn.
And we were in a house that didn't have a lot of space. So I kept a lot of my clothes in the car. So I just continued to do that over and over again. And I would methodically do it when she was asleep. When she was asleep, when the kids were asleep. I'm a night owl. I'm going to go to the laundromat and I'm going to wash clothes. And I would be gone for the amount of time that it normally would take for you to wash and dry clothes, and then I'd come back. And I kept that cycle going over and over again. Another thing that I made sure I did not do while we were living together is I made sure I did not have anything that was in my name that could affect my credit.
Oof.
So I made sure I didn't do that. You know what? Light bill, we're going to keep that in your name. Rent's going to stay in your name. Internet's going to stay in your name. All of this is going to stay in your name. It's fine. No big deal. You know, I even told her, something happens, I don't want to be in no situation where you and the kids don't have lights, water, gas, things of that nature. The time she was sold on it, okay, fine, cool.
Wait,
So when
so
it
you
came
went
time,
in that relationship knowing that you was gonna have to sneak out?
no, I didn't originally think that I was going to have to sneak out. Like, nobody gets into a relationship with that being part of the plan. No, I never thought that. That was never a goal. But when I realized, okay, you know what, this isn't working, it's time for me to leave with the least amount of drama as possible. So when it was time to go, that's exactly what I did. There was nothing that she couldn't set my clothes on fire. She couldn't bleach them or anything of that nature because I didn't have any in there. And the stuff that I did have in there, which was a crock pot and an air fryer, I didn't care about that. I can replace those. So, you know, when we had a mutual agreement, she didn't necessarily like it, but we had a mutual agreement. I was like, this isn't working for me. Like, the person that I am, the person that I've become, I don't recognize and I don't like, nor do I want to get to know. So with that being said, I think it would be best for both of us if we go our separate ways. And she said, well, if you are certain that that's the way that you feel, then okay, fine. So after that conversation, there was no need for us to continue sitting in front of each other like we were about to watch a movie or something. So I hopped in my car and drove off.
Oh my gosh. Woo. Okay, now. Whew, so viewers at home, I hope y'all taking all these notes, boy.
If he don't have anything in his name, if he only got a crock pot, I'm taking all these notes. You gotta put this furniture in your name.
He's doing laundry at
You gotta
midnight.
be on this lease. Listen, you gave away the game for free, Tori.
Hey, I'm just saying, like, you're not about to mess up my credit because you don't want to pay a bill and think that you're getting back at me.
Goodness. Woo. Lord.
And
okay.
I only say that because I know people that have had that happen to them.
Exactly.
To where they lived with somebody and they had certain utilities and stuff in their name and they broke up and the person was like, well, I'm not going to pay this. Mm-hmm. And they were adamant about it. They did not pay it. And then when it got disconnected, then they got that same service in their own name after they've already damaged somebody's credit.
Real quick disclaimer, because I want everyone to understand that I didn't move out and then leave this person hanging, like with the lease and the light bill, because as he was talking, I thought about that because I knew my situation. I didn't lead with that or mention that fact, but when I got there, it was a self-sufficient running household. I added to it, and me leaving didn't leave because I've been in a situation where it's like, damn, we got to wait until this lease because I don't want you homeless. You know, we came in here with the understanding that we're splitting it or whatever, which I'm just giving a hypo because I don't split the rent. But, you know, just things like, no, I don't split the rent. But I wouldn't leave anybody hanging. Unfortunately, however that works out, if I have to stick it out for longer than I want to or come up with some money to help them break the lease, I would personally do that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the
And and
disclaimer.
and to piggyback off of what
Victoria.
she said, so I don't look like the horrible person. The person that I was with, they were already self-sufficient also. So it's
Okay.
not like this is something that we got together and then I'm like, all right, you on your own, figure it out. Like
Yeah, don't do that.
they already had, like, this was actually their home that I moved into. So they had already, like I said, they had already established certain things before I got there.
Okay. And the last thing that I wanted to mention was something that I think is huge that a lot of people are dealing with, and it's the whole discussion on soul ties. So we might make this a whole separate discussion. I might do a whole nother episode on this as well, but I kind of wanted us to mention in speaking about how to get out of the situation. One of the things that I think is huge among people, again, is the whole soul tie. So the definition of soul tie is an inexplicable, powerful emotional bond to another person, right? So it's a lot of times when, again, you want to leave, you see the person as, the relationship or the situation is toxic, but you just can't like go away. You can't walk. And then when you decide you leave, let's say you got your trash bags and you got the apartment across the street, like your desire to want to be with that person is so strong. One of the things I read was stating that a lot of times that happens because we start equating our identity to that person. So just like you have a child or something, now you feel like a part of you is missing. So that void is there and it's like, okay, I want that. I need my leg back, like you feel that loss. So the question is, how can someone overcome that? Do you guys believe that the soul tie thing is true? And I know that a lot of our viewers have a church background and all that. But how do you break that? Did you guys have that experience? Did you find it hard to break it off with the person, like the soul tie? And what did you do to kind of overcome that?
As you're speaking, like I'm kind of getting emotional, like to be quite honest, because I'm thinking about that particular person. And I don't think that tie is forever.
Wow.
Forever. Like there's nothing, I don't think there's anything that can break a soul tie to someone. And maybe this is just because it hasn't been broken in my situation. So I'll just say, for me, it hasn't been broken. Although I love that person, would marry that person, have kids with that person, I had to choose me and the version of me that I woke up every morning to eventually reach over that current situation. And oftentimes, educated, successful women are seen as like, oh, you're choosing your career over this relationship. I would say that career and values and goals are all kind of related, right? And so my career choices are related to my values. I value certain things, so I choose a certain career, right? And so our values didn't line up. If I value family and you don't value family, how can I sit here and plan on creating a family with you, right? If I value education and you don't, then what's going to happen when we have this family and I want my child to go to private schools or really good schools? And so although I did have a strong tie with that person, I will forever, there'll always be a special place in my heart for him. He was not able to grow with me. And we were great for each other, like when we met, but as I continued to grow, I saw that either I was going to stay there with him, like Thaddeus said. I did love him. There was nothing about him that I wanted to change, but some type of change or bending was needed for us to grow. And so I do believe in soul ties. I don't think they can be broken, or at least I haven't seen it. And I'm not saying that I can't, I've had a child after him, been in a long relationship after him, and I honestly didn't think about him. But that soul tie, I think, is forever there.
Ooh. What do you guys think?
Tori? I think, to piggyback off of what she said, I think with a soul tie, you can have a soul tie and not necessarily be with that person ever again. It's just that time that you all were together was perfect in a way for the two of you, given the situation that you were in.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that you're going to spend the rest of your life with that person. It doesn't mean that you necessarily wish any ill will toward them or anything of that nature. It's just you recognize, okay, you know what? We were on the same path and now we've hit a fork in the road. And now I'm going to the right. And as much as I want you to come to the right with me, if you choose to go left, I don't love you any less. That just lets me know you weren't supposed to go this way with me.
Correct. Mhm.
So I think you're always going to have individuals that you're tied to. And the reason why I say that, because there'll be certain songs that you listen to that will remind you of that person. Like if it was a song that every time it came on the radio, the two of you sang at the top of your lungs together. Like if you're with somebody else and that same song comes on the radio, you're not necessarily, you might sing it, but there's a part of you that might also think about the very first person you were singing your head off to this song with. And you may not, I hope you don't tell the person that you're with that, but you know, you do have that dynamic. Do I believe soul ties? I believe soul ties are real. I believe soul ties are, a lot of people use soul ties in as far as them being real in a sexual connotation, to where the soul tie is not formed until you sleep with somebody, which I don't necessarily agree with. I believe that that's another tie that a person has to deal with, but I don't believe it's solely linked to, oh, the only way that I can be tied to you is if I have to sleep with you. But I believe every person that comes into your life, whether you're in a relationship with them or not, you're tied to them in some sort of way, whether good, bad, in between, lesson learned, or lesson neglected, things of that nature. As far as how you separate them, I don't think you separate them. How to keep from being engulfed in them is you have to remember who you are. You have to remember who you are, what your goals, what your dreams, desires are, and you have to continue pressing forward. And you can't let yourself be wrapped up into a tie with an individual and cause you to be stagnant and not to progress and move forward.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I also agree with soul ties. And then I think I've had one before and I was able to, get rid of it. But I think it took some drastic measures. It took a lot of work, took a lot of prayer, a lot of support, and it took time. And it took a shifting of the mind. Because a lot of times when you're in the situation or you're thinking about the person, it's your perception. You're thinking, okay, I'm never going to find someone I connect with like that again. It's the way that you see the situation. And once you change that mindset, and again, it takes time and repetition and all of those things, it takes a lot of work. But it is something that you can, in my opinion, overcome. And I have. Check out my course on how to get over someone you love on mycomfycouch.com, which is a shameless plug. But it is definitely possible. And like I said, it takes time. And again, I cannot take out the religion or the spiritual aspect of it as well, because I do think there is restoration through, God and working on your spiritual that can definitely release you of that, just like it can release you from other things that hold you. Thaddeus, did you have any comments on the whole soul ties thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's been especially lately, it's been spoken about a lot because a lot of people are realizing that both women and men, they do have soul ties. If you sometimes we kind of like over spiritualize it, and it may just be that you are pining after this person because they are the best person that you think that you could have. And what like what you said, what you're thinking is that no one else is going to measure up to this person. Like whatever connection that you have with how this person was, or there's some particular thing about their persona that you really like, that you really click with. And I have one, I would say one person like that, where it's like, I understand like that whatever she has, like that is not something that you're going to ever find again, like ever. But I can't just change my mind and say, well, it does exist. No. Like she's definitely unique. I'm never going to find that again. However it is, you have to just be okay with losing that and realizing that, okay, for the rest of your life, yes, if you ever going back to a time where you're going to be pining about something, yes, you're going to remember it. But is it necessarily a soul tie? I don't know that. It's just like more like, to me, it's like a more fear of missing out. like you over romanticize, or you think about, you tend to think about it so such in a rosy glass that what you're doing is you're forgetting the bad times. I mean, like, y'all broke up for a reason. So if this person was really that good, would y'all really break up? So what you're doing is you're removing all the negativity, all of the bad stuff that this person had, and you're just trying to focus on the two things that you really, really, really like that you can't find. I mean, is that really a soul tie? I mean, it could be, but I don't know about that.
And the
yes.
danger,
Go ahead.
the danger in what Thaddeus said is it causes you to forget the reason why you broke up in the first place, to make you wonder if, you know what, maybe we should get back together, or maybe we shouldn't have broke up in the first place. And now you have clouded tunnel vision because you've forgotten all of the bad things or the negative things that contributed to y'all being apart in the first place. And I also think when it comes to dating going forward, meeting somebody new, the person you have a soul tie with, there's a certain level of familiarity that goes into it. Like, you know what you're getting with this person, as opposed to you have no idea what you're going to get with a new person.
Yes, it's a lot to it. So those of you watching, again, the show is always to be educational, right? So you heard from everyone on the panel, men and women, and talk about these relationships. So again, for our younger viewers who are, going to start dating or just getting into the dating field, look at all of these examples, everything that we spoke about, try to get the lessons from it. Those who are currently in toxic relationships, listen to how we just discussed the signs, how you can tell, how you can get out of it, how you can heal from it. And let us know your experience. I feel like when we share, that's really helpful to others. When they see their story and your story, it kind of gives them strength, lets them know they're not alone, and maybe helps them to get out of their situation. So I want to thank you all so much. I love this discussion. Shatoria, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Tori, for being here as well. And Thaddeus, of course, we always appreciate your point of view. Always come left field, but we need it sometimes. So we thank you. Maybe we'll have you and Shatoria go head to head, maybe. Toe to toe. And thank you again, viewers, for watching the show. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Let us know how we're doing, and we'll see you next time on My Comfy Couch. Toodles!